Hi, good morning everyone. Let's get started with our next topic, which is SAP instance. In this topic, we will see the concept of what is an instance in SAP system. Okay, instance is this is actually the basic building block of an SAP system. In SAP system, we can have multiple SAP instances, and each SAP instance it consists of a group of resources such as memory, the different work processes, that is dispatcher, gateway, spool, etc., which usually in a support of single application server or database server within a client server environment. Okay, so just take note that this is a group of resources. We allocate these resources, we allocate the memory and the work processes. Okay, so SAP application servers share the same memory areas and are controlled by the same dispatcher process. And a user logs on to the SAP system using an instance. An SAP system can consist of one or more instances, such as an application system or an SAP system with a single instance with only one central server, or it can have multiple application servers. So we will see the different scenarios here. But for now, just take note that SAP instance, this is a basic building block of an SAP system, and an SAP system can have multiple instances. It is an administrative unit that combines multiple components to provide one or more services. Okay, so SAP system consists of application instance, database instance, and we will see them what they are. And when the application instance and database instance reside on the same hardware, it is known as single instance. And if they reside on different systems, we call them as distributed instances. Okay, and an SAP instance actually is uniquely defined by a system ID, okay, which is known as SID, and an instance number. And each SAP instance can be distributed over multiple hardware units. These can be separate physical machines, logical or physical partition within the same machine. Okay, so and the database instance we call it as DBSID, and SAP instance we normally call it as SAP SID. So let's see that in more details. Okay, so here you can see the type of instances. So these are the three main type of instances. You can see that this is your single instance system where you have application instance, which is having central instance and central services instance, and this is your database instance. Okay, in distributed environment, you can see that your application instance is in one system, this is in your different system. Okay, and if it is a distributed instance with multiple dialog instances, you can see that this is one dialog instances, this is another dialog instances, and these are the central instances and central services instances along with the database instances. Okay, so as you can see that the main thing is dialog instances. Dialog, which is where all the processing takes place. This is what is the central point of contact for any interaction from the user. Okay, then central instance, the database instance. Okay, so if you note that SAP system, you have a dialog instance, you have a central instance, and you have a database instance. Okay, so take note of this key term which will be used very often whenever you are logging to an SAP system, SID, which is used to identify an SAP system. That means SAP system identification. Each R3 installation, that is each SAP system of a database server with several application servers running the application logic, is uniquely identified by a single SID, and you should have unique SIDs within your environment. You cannot have duplicate of SIDs, so that is very important. And how do you name a SID? It's a three-letter word. It should be, you should have at least a one numeric you can have, and This is like, say for example, ECC system, you can have something like EC1, or say for example your development environment, you can have say DE1, your quality environment QE1. For ECC, for say BW system, you can have say DB1, or for quality BW system, you can have say QB1. For your portal environment development system, you can name it as DP1. So these are the naming convention which can uniquely identify your system in your landscape. So that is extremely important. Just take note that. Okay, now this is one example showing, telling that what is an SAP application server. You can have a BAP application server. You can also have a Java application server also. Okay, but our main focus is a BAP part. So you have a central instance, and in central instance you can see there is an NQ server which keeps track of the logs. Okay, then gateway process. Okay, you have central services instance. This is your message server. So these are the functionality which is provided out of these two instances. Then you have a dialog instance where you have all the work process which is actually doing the work for you. Okay, so that is pretty much I wanted to cover in this particular topic. Thank you for joining me and have a nice day. Bye bye.